Welcome back to Elevation Perspective. My name is Mark, and today I am ranking my current top 10 teams power ranked in Major League Baseball after 1 month of play. This is very difficult because I want to acknowledge those teams off to great starts, but also not get too carried away. This is also challenging because while I was doing this prep, I noticed I left 9 teams that are 500 over 500 off of this list. Let's give it our best shot. Here we go. At number 10 with a record of 17-12 and a run differential of plus 17, the Seattle Mariners. This is a team that's been built strictly on their pitching for the last handful of years, but right now they have George Kirby down. They just lost Logan Gilbert, and now Bryce Miller's also dealing with some kind of injury. If Miller does wind up missing time, they're pretty much just left with Luis Castillo, Brian Wu, and whoever they can call up to fill the void. But the positive spin here is the Mariners have got some seriously nice offensive production. The story of baseball right now is probably Jorge Polanco. This is a player that played on the Mariners last season. He had a .213 average with 16 home runs. They brought him back. He's now believed to finally be healthy after that knee surgery. He's batting .389 with 9 home runs and 72 at-bats. He's been phenomenal. Big dumper Cal Raleigh is also doing his thing here, hitting .228 with 10 home runs. Julio Rodriguez continues to puzzle and confuse the baseball world. This is a superstar talent, a player that is viewed to be a top 10 player in the sport, but he starts off every season just like this, hitting .202 with 4 home runs and a .668 OPS. Yes, at some point he will get hot, the numbers will look the way they're supposed to look, but it's very frustrating and puzzling, quite frankly, the fact that Julio cannot start off decent any year. And a big shout out here to the Mariners closer, Andres Munoz. In 15 innings pitched, Munoz has still not let up an earned run. He has 19 strikeouts, a .073 whip, and 11 saves. It's a great start to the season. Jorge Polanco has been a wonderful story. This division is pretty wide open with the Astros looking to take a step back here, but I still don't see the Mariners team as anything more than an 85-ish win squad. At number 9 with a 19-11 record and a plus 25 run differential, the San Francisco Giants. The Giants have been one of the big surprise stories so far in the early going. Led by veteran part-time player Wilmer Flores, who has 28 runs batted in, tying him with Pete Alonso for second place in the National League, only behind Teoscar Hernandez. Jung-Hoo Lee has been phenomenal for this team as well. 115 at-bats so far this season, has a .322 batting average, 3 home runs, 3 stolen bases, and a .908 OPS. Willy Adames is off to a very slow start. I'm really worried about this fit here with Adames going to San Francisco, but it's still very early. We're not going to get too carried away just yet, but hitting .208 with 2 home runs and a .587 OPS. The pitching is where this Giants team shines, led by their ace Logan Webb, who on the season, in 41 innings pitched, has a 2.83 ERA and 50 strikeouts. 2 very experienced veterans in Robbie Ray and Justin Verlander are both showing signs they still have something left in the tank to offer as well. I'm not very convinced the Giants are riding their hot start here into a successful playoff-bound 2025 campaign, but it's definitely a nice start for the team. At number 8 with a record of 16-13 and a run differential of +1, the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies are kind of just doing what they do here. They have a solid team with good pieces. My stance or outlook on this team has not changed a whole lot based on this first month of play. Jesus Luzardo has been a really exciting bright spot for this team, looking healthy with a 1.73 ERA, and he's throwing very hard again as well. I think if Luzardo is healthy when the playoffs roll around here, this could be a game changer for the team. Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper are off to nice starts here. Schwarber has 8 home runs, Harper has 5. Bryson Stott leads this team in batting average with a .292 average. Right behind him is Trey Turner at .290. On the downside here, JT Realmuto, 34 years old, had a pretty injury-plagued season last year, now hitting .226 with a .624 OPS. You gotta wonder if Realmuto's not that same star player he once was. Also, Jordan Romano, who they brought in from the Blue Jays to be the closer for this team, has already lost his job. He's been absolutely dreadful. He lost the job to Jose Alvarado, who has been a phenomenal elite reliever in years past and looks very good this year as well. Like I said, 16-13, my stance on this team has not changed. I think they're a high 80s win team. They're going to come in 3rd place behind the Mets and the Braves. At number 7 with a record of 14-16 and a run differential of +1, the Atlanta Braves. This is kind of a out of respect pick here. Obviously 14-16 is not a conventional top 10 power ranked team. But when you factor in this team started 0-7 with a really tough schedule, having to play both the Dodgers and the Padres out west, now they're just 2 under, things are really looking up for them. The sheer talent on this Braves team, first off here in the lineup, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Marcell Ozuna, Ozzie Albies, and Michael Harris. Then on the pitching side with Spencer Schwellenbach and Chris Sale, the talent is overwhelming. The Braves also have their MVP candidate and Cy Young candidate on the horizon here with the return of Ronald Acuna and Spencer Strider. Strider came back for that one start versus the Blue Jays before having that hamstring injury that put him back on the shelf, but doesn't seem too serious. Acuna still does not have a clear timetable, but we're getting some pretty positive reports here saying he's running okay, taking live BP. He should be playing in some kind of minor league games in the next few weeks. I think the Braves are really good and they're only getting better. Like I said, 14-16 does not reflect the talent on this team. I still fully expect the National League East to be neck and neck between the Braves and the Mets. At number 6, with a record of 19-12 and a run differential of plus 40, the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers are off to a great start here, looking to repeat as a playoff team after their surprising 2024 run. One of the big stories here is former first overall pick Spencer Torkelson. The Tigers basically wrote this player off in the winter. They signed Gleyber Torres, they said they're going to move Colt Keith over to first base, and Torkelson may not even have a role in this team anymore. Torkelson had a great spring earning his spot and is now batting .243 with 8 home runs. Kerry Carpenter has been very solid as well, hitting .265 with 7 home runs and an .811 OPS. The Tigers' pitching has been very strong with the rotation anchored by reigning Cy Young winner Tarik Skubal. The pen has also been great with Holton, Canley, and Vest in the back end. I don't think the Tigers roster is loaded with talent, but they're very solid, and A.J. Hinch gets the most out of his players. The Tigers should be right in the thick of the American League Central picture all year long. At number 5, with a record of 18-11 and a run differential of plus 26, the San Diego Padres. The Padres are proving the haters wrong here in the early going. I think a lot of people, myself included, kind of saw this team taking a step back when they basically did nothing this offseason except for bringing in Nick Pivetta. But Nick Pivetta has probably been the best free agent signing to date from this past winter right now, anchoring this pitching staff with a 5-1 record with a 1.78 ERA. He has been phenomenal. Michael King has also been incredible for this Padres team. He has a 4-1 record with a 2.09 ERA. And the back end of this Padres bullpen has been spectacular. Jason Adams has been setting things up here in the 8th inning. He has a 1.06 ERA in 17 innings, 23 strikeouts. And he sets up closer Robert Suarez, who's been basically perfect this year. In 14 innings, Suarez has 16 strikeouts, a 0.64 ERA, a 0.57 whip, and 12 saves. And one more tremendous positive for this Padres team, their franchise player, Fernando Tatis Jr., looks healthy, off to a great start here, hitting .345 with 8 home runs, 7 stolen bases, and a 1,011 OPS. I am a little bit concerned here for the Padres' offensive depth, though. They are currently without 2 of their key players here in Jackson Merrill and Jake Cronenworth. It's a little bit harder to judge, but looking at today's lineup here, Tatis, Arraez, and Machado, that's awesome. After that, Gavin Sheets, Xander Bogaerts, Jose Iglesias, Tyler Wade, Jason Hayward, and Elias Diaz. That's a lot of older veteran players who are really past their prime. Concerned there long term, but like I said, it'll look a lot different once they get Cronenworth and Jackson Merrill back. I do expect the Padres to hang around all year in that National League wildcard race. At number 4, with an 18-12 record and a run differential of plus 48, the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs have been playing some incredible baseball to start the year here, led by their superstar rental Kyle Tucker, hitting .288 with 7 home runs and 26 runs batted in. The Cubs lead all National League teams with a .263 team batting average. They also lead all of baseball with 181 runs scored. They have their solid, consistent guys that they have and rely on every single year in Ian Happ, Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, Seiya Suzuki, but also this year the emergence of a possible star in Pete Crow-Armstrong. Crow-Armstrong is batting .284 with 6 home runs and 12 stolen bases. I'm a little skeptical he'll continue to hit at this level from a batting average perspective, but his power-speed combo with elite defense is undeniable. The Cubs' pitching staff does not really excite me here, especially losing Justin Steele for the year. They've gotten solid early contributions from Matt Boyd and Jameson Taillon, 2 pretty established veterans, but you're kind of just waiting for the shoe to drop on players like that overperforming. And in the back end of games here, Ryan Presley at age 36 looks pretty shaky. Has a 2.25 ERA, but a 1.58 whip. Lots of base runners there. Porter Hodge is a pretty good alternative. I think he'll probably be the closer at some point this year, but a lot of kind of shaky, suspicious things going on with this pitching staff. It's a great start to the year for the Cubs, but I see pitching being the reason. The Cubs are more toward the middle or the back end of this top 10 when we do this again in a month instead of at the number 4 position they currently stand at. At number 3, with a record of 18-12 and a run differential of plus 53, the New York Yankees. It's been an interesting start to the season for the Yankees. I feel like 18-12 does not properly reflect how well they have played so far. They got off to a really hot start, hitting home runs left and right when the torpedo bat phenomenon took the league by storm. Then they kind of got cold and fought through some tough times to get to a respectable 18-12. Aaron Judge looks well on his way to repeating his American League MVP, hitting .417 with 10 home runs at the time of this recording. Max Fried, the big free agent signing for this team, has been absolutely outstanding with a 5-0 record and a 1.19 ERA. The biggest concern here for the Yankees has been Devin Williams, an all-star closer who they acquired from the Milwaukee Brewers in his walk year. He's been absolutely dreadful. In 9 innings, Williams has allowed 12 hits, 7 walks, and 10 earned runs. He has been unusable, and it looks like now Luke Weaver will step in as the closer until Williams figures it out. A few more great stories for the Yankees here on the offensive side of things. First off here, Ben Rice hitting .275 with 8 home runs and a .987 OPS. And this next one here is absolutely puzzling to me. Trent Grisham batting .304 with 8 home runs and a 1,044 OPS. This is a guy who has batted under 200 the last 3 seasons prior, so I'm not sure how he's doing this, but in a walk year, in a contract year, maybe Grisham changed something about his swing. He's trying to get paid one more time. I'm not quite sure, but an absolutely great story for the Yankees. The Yankees are off to a very good start. They're a very solid team. They're going to make the playoffs for sure in some capacity, likely the American League East favorites as well. At number 2, with a record of 20-10 and a run differential of +30, the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers started off the season 8-0, then they kind of ran a little bit of a skid there for a couple of weeks, but back-to-back series with the Pirates and the Marlins flipped that narrative really quickly. Like always, they've seen some serious injuries to their starting pitchers already, most notable the big free agent signing Blake Snell as well as Tyler Glasnow, both dealing with shoulder problems. You really have to wonder at this point what kind of throwing program, what kind of training the Dodgers have their pitchers do. 2 mostly everyday regular players in their lineup are really struggling here in Max Muncy and Michael Conforto. Muncy is batting .194 with 1 home run, and Conforto is batting .156 with 2 home runs. But those players struggling down at the bottom of the lineup has not really been a big deal due to the success of pretty much every offensive player. The most unlikely story so far is probably Tommy Edman hitting .252 with 8 home runs and an .818 OPS. And then the Stars are doing what they do pretty much, with Teoscar Hernandez leading the way right now with a .310 average, 9 home runs, and 32 RBIs leading the National League. We also have to mention Shohei Ohtani is batting .287 with 7 home runs, 10 RBIs, and 9 stolen bases. I think the belief was the stolen bases were going to kind of slow down this year with him becoming a pitcher again. He hasn't started pitching yet, so you can see the stolen bases at 9 already. He's right at the top of the list. Mookie Betts is probably the lone star who has been underwhelming to this point. Mookie is batting .240, but he does have 4 home runs, and with his weird start to the year with the stomach virus that caused him to lose all of that weight, I feel like he probably earned some slack here in terms of judging him this early on. The Dodgers are still very likely the number 1 best team in baseball, but after a month of play, I'm going to put them at number 2. And at number 1, with a record of 21-9 and a run differential of +55, the New York Mets. Start off by saying here, a +55 run differential 30 games in is absolutely outstanding. The Mets pitching has been the story of baseball so far this year, a major league leading team ERA of 2.60. It's very clear the impact the Mets pitching lab and pitching coach Jeremy Hefner have on this team. And the Mets ace Sean Manaea, who they re-signed this offseason, has still not thrown a pitch yet in 2025. There is certainly skepticism on some of these starters overperforming, like Griffin Canning with a 2.61 ERA and Tyler McGill with a 1.74, but I kind of expect as the pitching regression happens, the hitting will normalize as well. After all, Juan Soto is batting .250 with 3 home runs. Mark Vientos is batting .210. Brandon Nimmo .218. There's a lot of kind of give and take there with the pitching and the hitting. The Mets bullpen has also been exceptional, with the lone struggling player, ironically enough, being their closer, Edwin Diaz. I don't know if the Mets will remain number 1 for the duration of the year, but based on their April play, they are deserving of the number 1 spot. And that's the list. Like I said, this is a very difficult task as I've tried to walk a fine line of recency bias while also understanding it's been 1 month of play. It's a very long year. Your overall viewpoint of a team should not change drastically with 1 month of play in a 6-month season. So with that being said, hopefully everyone enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit subscribe. Have a great day, and thank you so much for watching.